Has anyone checked on Tyra Banks recently? Aussies, I'm looking specifically at you. Please tap in because she's up to something in your country.
And Santa Claus got jealous. He just kept going. He said, now she got magic with the dudes? What? And there was an Arctic wall that rose up from the ground and that snow into the sky. I think I'm going crazy.
Hey guys, what's up? It's Imurgency and welcome back to my channel and welcome to the first video of 2026. Today, we're all talking about Tyra Banks because she's been up to a lot recently, from basically recreating Creme Angelaise, playing a tiny bit in RuPaul and Mariah Carey's bags, and taking a wig, a pimple patch, an arguably AI-generated song, and a dream out to the clubs recently in Sydney, Australia. All in the name, mind you, of her ice cream brand promotion, or more so, her hot ice cream brand promotion.
Oh, no, that wasn't Tyra, that was Santa Smize. I'm Tyra. She's Santa Smize, yellow hair, don't care, crazy, diva from the South Pole with a Southern accent. Definitely not. You know what, I think she's actually gonna be here at the Smize and Dream shop tonight. We have a party, this big party. She's going from Sydney to New York to bring my hot ice cream.
Right, because there is honestly so much to get into, and I, for one, am kind of concerned. And I think you should be too, especially considering that the person we're talking about is the Tyra Banks. But I guess in order to fully get into what's going on now, we do have to have a sort of baseline as to who is Tyra Banks. Okay, on the off occasion that you may not know who this woman, Miss Tyra Banks, is, or might just need a general refresher, you may know or remember her from iconic pop culture historical moments such as
Quiet, but everybody be quiet. That's what is wrong with you. But you're not. Stop it! I have never in my life yelled at a girl like this.
and arguably most iconically creating the Smize as we know it today. You know, the whole But Tyra got her start as a model at age 15, and Banks was one of the first and few black models to achieve supermodel status, as well as the black woman to be on the cover of GQ and Sports Illustrated. She was also a Victoria's Secret angel from 1997 to 2005, and regardless of what your opinions may be on Tyra, it is an undeniable fact that she broke a lot of barriers in the industry, and is a legend in her own right. Now, as to if she helped keep those barriers down, that's a conversation for another time. But in 2023, she created what would revolutionize, for better or for worse, reality TV, the public access to the fashion world, and women's views on themselves forever, with that thing being America's Next Top Model, which trust and believe we will be getting back to. And then in 2005, she had her own talk show called The Tyra Show, which again, in its own right, was something for sure. And if they would have let her, she could have gone on to be the next Wendy Williams, with a flair for unsavory social experiments. I just know it. Having built her platform on using your perceived flaws as your strengths, she was the face for empowerment and breaking barriers in the modeling industry. She's even went on talk shows and spoke about her experience being bullied for her looks. You know, the very things that made her very unique and very successful in her career. And she's outwardly celebrated differences and diversity as a strength, but as most do and put in their own version of the Stanford prison experiment, she failed when she got power. In 2003, she created something that would be life-changing for its participants, and surely for the viewers. And I think the pool of people that this negatively impacted is definitely greater than who it benefited positively. But you know, hey, life-changing doesn't always mean for the better. I know many people remember watching the show when they were younger and probably still have some underlying PTSD from the different episodes that have aired. Specifically those makeover episodes out of fear that, I don't know, someone's gonna jump through the screen and bleach and buzz your hair off. Yeah, entertainment in the early 2000s was brutal to say the least. Many participants of America's Next Top Model have come out and talked about their experience. And aside from the moment where we saw the judges terrorize contestants on screen, allegedly production conditions were also just as harsh, with them denying them the ability to go to the bathroom, not being told where they're going or for how long, spending hours in these terrible conditions, and the list of horrors goes on. And many viewers note that Tyra and fellow judges were especially cruel to the black contestants. And of course, body shaming was free reign on anyone. The judges constantly made contestants do challenges that hold no real reason besides causing actual pain to the aspiring models, such as making them do a shoot in underwear in freezing temperatures and causing some to actually get hypothermia, making a girl do a photo shoot in a coffin the day after her friend passed away. And mind you, there is no photo shoot that you need to be doing all that for. Tyra staying silent while judges were being especially cruel to Yaya for not choosing the stereotypical African hat. It was all just so weird. And I think there's almost a like, damn, Tyra must know how hard the industry is if she thinks all this is okay. General response to all this, but from my side of town, the thought process is one, she's a producer at the end of the day, and the show lasted 24 seasons, so you do the math. Cruelty clearly makes for great TV, and she must have known exactly what she was doing. And two, let's just humor the thought that she wasn't doing this on purpose, and she is solely the victim of the industry herself. It's also a tale as old as time. Victims of systems can sometimes go on to become the perpetrators, my friends. And after all these stories coming from contestants, I think it's fair to say that she at least caused a handful of girls mental and emotional harm unnecessarily. I think at the time, Tyra was lauded for being empowering, for seemingly adding a democratizing element to the modeling industry, where girls from the middle of nowhere could come to Hollywood and potentially win a modeling contract. But plus size models never won, short contestants were eliminated, and there is nary an episode that goes by without racial comments. Those comments either having racial undertones or just being overtly racista. Like you got girls coming on that show with flat tummies being called too fats. Hello? And it's the same issue that people have with like girl boss feminism. It's not that the industry needed a black woman at the head of it. The industry itself was rotten. Harmful ideologies and standards are still harmful regardless of who's saying it. But of course, everything exists at a time and place. And during this time and place, this was considered progress. And in some cases, it was. Like no one can argue that it wasn't representation, but like at what cost? I'm sure many of the contestants have moved on with their lives considering this was many years ago. And some do attribute the start of their successful careers now to this show jumpstarting it. And of course, all this comes to light in the great year of 2020, where people nostalgic and chronically online as ever went back to watch the old seasons of America's Next Top Model. And well, it was enough to spark the hashtag Tyra is over party. And in true 2020 fashion, Tyra apologized for her years of egregious offenses by calling them really off choices. You know what? I really got to add that one to the books. You know what? I actually be remiss to not mention how the Tyra Show won 2 daytime Emmys. And that show included segments that, for that time, were pretty progressive, having honest conversations about a myriad of subjects. But of course, it also had segments such as, I don't know, Tyra pretending to be homeless for a day, her wearing a fat suit for a day and crying about how judged she was for being overweight, only to then go and fat shame people on her other show and do general race swaps. Like the social experimentation was there. Like this feels like early YouTube at its finest, like the problematic social experiment and just do it for the likes and views, like Tyra was a sister. But no, like in another life, I just know that Tyra Banks was a sociologist. But you know what's special about Tyra Banks? She's a woman of many talents. Besides being a supermodel, a judge, a host, a part-time appropriator, among other offenses, she's also a very skilled interviewer.
Beyonce. When was the last time you bought something in a store? Seance, Briance, Grayonce, Clayonce. Miley Cyrus. Which celebrity have you met that made you really embarrassed, nervous, shy?
Do with this information what you will. But that's enough of a brief history lesson for right now. I give all this exposition to sort of build this character in your head of Tyra Banks. Because recently she's been hella active in the club in Australia in both a yellow wig and online. So let's talk about what is actually going on with Tyra Banks right now. Why am I bringing Miss Banks to the stand today? Okay, because it's been a while since I heard Tyra's name. But on a very fateful day, I opened TikTok and across my For You page is a video of Tyra Banks promoting hot ice cream. I let that sink in for a second. And no, when I say hot ice cream, I do not mean melted ice cream. Hot ice cream. And she says she's been working very hard to create this product. And of course, as one does when they hear that a iconic supermodel is releasing something called hot ice cream, I had to go down a rabbit hole to hear more because what does any of that mean? And I honestly had no business keeping up with Tyra, but turns out I was behind. I was living under the rock, okay? Because Smize and Dream, an ice cream company, mind you, had been her main focus since 2020, 2021, all the way back to Tyra's Over Party. And I have to say there is something so ironic about someone who enforced such rigid weight loss and fat shamed so many young girls to now be running and owning a ice cream brand. Like truly, there is a joke in there somewhere and hopefully some healing in there as well. Now, before we continue, this next sequence of questioning came about in chronological order. So follow my thinking here. 1, why are we making an ice cream company? 2, what do you mean by hot ice cream? 3, what the hell does ice cream but make it mama mean? And finally, actually, this is number 1. Why the hell are we in Sydney, Australia? And sure, there are answers on her website, but they aren't really substantive or satisfactory. Like they all feel like non-answers, and I'm so sorry to disappoint, but this all really still seems like a mystery to me. However, like in the interviews that I see with her, like tasting and trying the hot ice cream with other people, like the people interviewing her or people that she's demonstrating it to all seem so baffled. They say that it tastes kind of good, but it kind of looks like they're just drinking like hot cocoa. In my mind, it kind of reminds me of like when you're drinking like chocolate milk and you're like, ooh, this is so good iced. I wonder what this would be like hot. I just know that hot chocolate milk would just really hit the spot. But then you realize that like hot chocolate milk is literally just hot chocolate. You know, I feel like hot ice cream is literally like just that, which I don't know if that really needs to be a full product. So like the jury is still out for that one. But something I do have context on is that last question, or the first question of why Sydney, Australia? Well, I mean, like not so much why Sydney, but more so why not DC, or perhaps any of the other United States even. And this brings us to a conversation around real estate, and specifically some drama around real estate, especially for you Selling Sunset fans out there. So her original flagship store was allegedly supposed to be in Washington, DC. Shout out to all the DC baddies out there. As a former DC resident, I shout out to y'all. And allegedly she and her partner Louis Martin signed a 10-year lease in a commercial building, but then ended up bailing within 2 years. And like signing for a commercial building for a business that you don't know is going to take off is definitely bold, to say the least. But as a result of this, she's allegedly being sued for breach of contract for $2.8 million, not including attorney fees or interest. So yeah, as of filming this, that is still ongoing. She also cites saying that she loved her time in Australia while she built her Smize cream empire. Why the factory is out there, no one knows. But she also says that Australia, along with the US and New Zealand, are the top 3 countries that eat ice cream. So it's a good place for that business. But also, like, the big question here is, why venture into the dessert industry at all? The world will truly never know. And I'm sorry, but we must circle back to the hot ice cream of it all, because she is reaching so hard to make this a culinary first, as mentioned on her website, even making the point to say that it is not a latte, not creme angelice. It's a secret third thing. Like, girl, why is Loki giving champurrado? Or like atole vibes. Like, shout out to mi gente latino. She also keeps emphasizing that there is a crazy global demand, and that hot ice cream is just viral, and that the world is so moved by this. And I'm just like, yeah, I guess I am here making a full YouTube video on this, but based on how social traction has been for hot ice cream up until now, it seems like we're more so speaking this into existence. But believe it or not, the story here still continues. Her PR under her hot ice cream page on her website, because yes, it requires a whole page, is just so telling, because it's either an article with a factual statement like Tyra Banks has invented hot ice cream, or like Tyra Banks confuses the internet, which I think both are about accurate. In her own words from the website, people are so confused by the idea of hot ice cream. It's mind-boggling. I get it. But then you taste it and you're like, oh, yes, I get it now. Like, what are we actually talking about? Like, I'm just secondhand stressed out over this. I'm sorry. And one of the big questions out of all this is like, what are people thinking about this? Is this actually good? And according to the court of TikTok opinion, the verdict is in. And honestly, all the reviews that I've seen say that it's pretty good. This whole video is really just like a campaign for me to be a part of the next campaign, to be able to try it and maybe have a new rollout for the summer, being like, ice cream but make it dada. Like, all of them low-key compare it to something that Tyra staunchly says it's not, like a hot milkshake or hot chocolate. But still, I guess a good review is a good review. Okay, now everyone cross your fingers that there's going to be an LA pop-up so I can try it in real life.
So when I took a sip, I tasted it immediately. The best way I could describe it is like a hot milkshake. Like a milkshake with chocolate chip cookies, but not too much chocolate. It was actually really good and flavorful. I would definitely get it again.
They've just started doing hot ice cream. Like, what even is that? It comes in 2 flavors. One is Tyra's favorite, which is a salted caramel. I got the fairy dough flavor because it comes with this little white chocolate fairy dough slice. So yummy. So what exactly is it? It's a hot, thick drink, which is a weird sensation to sip through a straw. But as much as I wanted to hate it, I actually kind of loved it. It's like liquefied.
Okay, now the last thing I want to say about the website specifically is that she uses very suspiciously looking AI-like models. And if they're not actually AI, then I'm sorry for being overly weary. But like, also, come on, there's like no way. Like, what happened to the literal models that she gave contracts to? Like, if this is AI, why are we using AI-generated models for whatever this campaign is? Now we're getting to the section that I'm personally most excited to talk about and most confused and concerned about when it comes to this whole conversation around Tyra Banks. And that is what has brought her a lot of attention as of late, which are her interesting marketing tactics, and I guess you could call them brand activations?
Tell you what he did. We're about to get to the end of this. You know, when Santa Claus tells you that he gonna come down your chimney and he wants you to leave some cookies and cream on that thing for him to eat. Do you know what he doing? Child, he ain't biting that cookie. He ain't sipping that cream. He taking a bowl from your cabinet, from your joinery, y'all call it, and he putting it on the thing. He putting a little bit of cookie, he putting a little bit of that milk, and he mixing it up, and he put it in your freezer, and he trying to make it taste like Santa's Smize, and it tastes like Santa's shit. Oh.
Hot ice
cream in here. You're hot because you're 52. I've been chill since birth. Santa Smize has chill, cool ice cream.
At the moment, I'm at a crossroads of like, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Like, was it Santa Smize or that fateful night at the club? Like, was the Santa Smize character arc an attempt to spin the narrative of an alleged fueled performance? Like, truly, who's to say? But like, also, Tyra has always been a bit theatrical.
Oh my God.
Just her pole. Check her pole.
I do. I'm all right. Today you guys are gonna learn about acting! Learn about acting!
So some are speculating that this is just normal Tyra behavior, while others are convinced that she's on the slopes. I, for one, am almost convinced that this unique, to say the least, world building is damage control.
I can't believe it because she hates me. She hates that I've invented hot ice cream, but she's gonna do me a solid and she's gonna take it from Sydney to New York and she's doing a big party tonight. It's like free ice cream and I think she said something like, oh, no, it's just crazy, but party tonight, 8 o'clock here. She'll be here. I won't. By the way, anything she says about me is a lie. She's crazy. If you don't hear it from my mouth, it's not true.
Like, I always err on the side of caution when it comes to alleged celebrity crash outs, because this definitely looks like that. Because oftentimes these celebrity crash outs are just like these celebrities' versions of humor, of them trying to troll or like be part of a meme or be part of a rollout. And sometimes it is a true crash out and we should address that with the concern that it deserves. I just have no idea what I'm watching. I have no idea what this is. And aside from speculation, because it's honestly none of my business, I fear that she does have the mind of a mastermind.
See, I'm telling you, I have the mind of a I have the mind of a mastermind. What's that?
Because honestly, who would think to have a Christmas time arch nemesis? Like, it is so specific. Like, Tyra attended the RuPaul Business School of Alter Ego, but I am suspecting that she dropped out a few semesters too early because the wig on Santa Smize. Like, you already know that RuPaul will pull up with a full beat mug and a one-of-one gown and the nastiest wig you've ever seen. Like, it's time to enroll Tyra for another semester. And this is all jokes, don't get me wrong, but the Santa Smize official video does use an egregious amount of AI, which y'all already know I'm not the hugest AI stan. But my thing is, like, if you're going to use it, at least make it look good. And of course, the whole Santa Smize business itself can bring up many different questions. But the main one that I have is like, why are you trying to come after Mariah Carey's bag? I'm like, girl, you saw the backlash that she was getting over her ad and said, this is my chance. Y'all gonna buy this hot ice cream today. Anyways, I found this Tyra Banks new lore formulation to be quite the rabbit hole and quite fascinating. And honestly, on some levels, quite concerning because there is a lot going on here. And it's clear that we're just bearing witness to a very stark rebrand when it comes to the persona of Tyra Banks. Is this necessarily the best rebrand for her? Time will tell. I, for one, just can't wait to see what she does next. And truly, I'm not sure whether to be excited or scared.